Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. There are so many amazing things that I love about autumn. So in today's video, I really wanted to share with you some of my autumn book recommendations, movies, TV shows, and activities. These are all books and TV shows and activities that I feel like will really get you into the fall spirit, and maybe even some spookier ones that will make you feel a little more in the Halloween spirit. I have a bunch of different categories of books, from classics to romance to YA and middle grade. So the first book on my list is Dracula by Bram Stoker, and it's published in 1897. This is a classic novel, classic gothic novel, and I know it's something most people have read, but I actually did not read this until this year. This novel takes place in the late 1800s in Transylvania and England. It's about a man named Jonathan Harker who travels to Transylvania to make arrangements for Dracula to move to London. And no, he does not know who Dracula is. So while he's on the journey to travel to Transylvania to meet Dracula, weird things start happening and he starts getting really sketched out, but he still goes and everything just unravels from there. This whole book consists of letters, diary entries, newspaper articles, a bunch of different things like that. And reading Jonathan Harker's journal as if he wrote it and was seeing this happen, I don't know, to me it just seemed so realistic. It was extremely creepy, but I absolutely loved reading this, and it creeped me out. Something really weird though about this is that Bram Stoker actually did not want this to be published as a fictional book. He wanted it to be nonfiction. He wanted this to be a warning to the people that there is evil out there in the world that's like this, and to just be warned. So knowing that, that's kind of terrifying. I would definitely put this on your must-reads if you've never read it before. The next one is The Ex Hex by Erin Sterling. So imagine practical magic. Like, it's literally almost like practical magic, except it's a little more magical, I think, and a little more raunchy. It's technically an adult romance novel, so just keep that in mind when you're reading it. So this book takes place in a fictional town called Graves Glen, and I would associate this town with Salem, Massachusetts, because around Halloween time, around October, it becomes a tourist attraction, and it's just the place where everyone goes. So the book starts with a 19-year-old girl named Vivian, who is a witch, who has a summer fling with another witch named Reese Penhallow, and he ends up breaking her heart because he tells her, I am betrothed and I have to move back to my hometown. So he leaves and she's heartbroken, and in a drunk haze decides to put a hex on him, joking around, and actually does. Yeah, I don't know, I just really liked it. It's funny, it's hot, it's witchy, it's a rom-com. So it was very easy for me to read. If you're wanting to take a break from a more serious book, this is definitely the one to choose. Yeah, I got through this extremely fast because you kind of know what's going to happen. It's very easy to guess, but it's just like watching a rom-com movie, but reading it. It's definitely the best Halloween book, I would say, off of my list. But again, it is an adult romance. So let's move on to the next romance book. And it is a romance fantasy fiction novel, and it's called The Night Circus. The Night Circus is by Morgenstern, and it came out in 2011. This book takes place in the late 19th century in an ahistorical London, where a circus suddenly arrives to town overnight without warning. So this story surrounds two magicians, Celia and Marco, and these are real magicians. They have real magic, and they become a part of this game, this competition, as children, and they have no idea what the game is that they're playing. They don't know how to win it, and they don't know who their competitor is. And there's definitely more I could say, but I don't know if I should say it because it might give away like more of the book. I'm just saying, go read it. If you like Harry Potter, you will like this book. The next one is The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. So The Graveyard Book takes place in none other than a graveyard, and a boy that is named Nobody wanders into the graveyard as a baby and is taken in and raised by the dead. So you get to see him grow up through all different phases of his life and see how he experiences things different from other kids, which is really interesting. But the cryptic backstory, it's very much like a scary movie. So I don't want to give too much away. Again, you'll just have to read it. It's a really good one. And the last book I want to recommend is the Harry Potter series. There are newer generations or even older that have not read this series yet, but these books are perfect for autumn. And I always like to reread them around this time because it just gets me entrapped in this wonderful world. And if you don't know what Harry Potter is, it is about a boy named Harry Potter who discovers that he is a wizard. Okay, now let's move on to the TV shows. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for the TV shows. Okay, so the first TV show I wanted to recommend is Locke and Key. Locke and Key is actually based on a comic book series by Joe Hill and Gabrielle Rodriguez. It's super spooky, suspenseful, adventurous. So it's about 3 siblings who have a dad that is murdered. They are forced to move with their mom to his ancestral home. It's a huge estate, and they discover these magical keys that end up unlocking different worlds, and it's absolutely crazy. This came out in 2020, but the new season actually comes out October 22nd, 2021, just in time for Halloween. So if you haven't seen it yet, make sure you watch it so you can catch up on season 2 when it comes out. Number 2 is Haunting of Hill House. This show came out in 2018, but it is based off of the book, which is by Shirley Jackson, and I have not read the book, but I hear it's not nearly as terrifying as the TV show, and the TV show is terrifying. This TV show is about a family that is forced to confront haunting memories of their old home and the terrifying events that forced them from it. It flashes between memories of them being a kid to an adult, and this TV show is hands down the scariest TV show I have ever seen. I legit could not watch this alone, could not watch it in the dark, and I got chills on my body watching this. This is definitely a must watch. It is scary though, I will say that. It's not like gore scary, it's not like Saw scary. I don't watch stuff like that. It's more just terrifying. I don't know, it's just terrifying. Even thinking about it now scares me. The next TV show recommendation is a classic. It is The Twilight Zone. I did not want to dismiss this because each episode is really terrifying and they're all different. So it's a lot of fun to watch these specifically because they're shorter. You don't have to watch an entire series to finish the story, and it's also in black and white, which is extra creepy. So if you've never seen The Twilight Zone, it explores different stories that are suspenseful. Even though it's an older show, it still gives me the creeps every time I watch it. I would definitely check out the episode Hitchhiker and Nightmare at 20,000 Feet. Okay, now let's move into movies. The first movie is Autumn in New York. This is a 2000 romance drama with Winona Ryder and Richard Gere? Rachel Gere. My bad. So this movie takes place, of course, in New York and follows a couple, Will and Charlotte, who have a very large age gap in their relationship. I just thought this was the perfect movie for fall. Perfect. They explore New York during the autumn season and go through Central Park with all the leaves falling on the ground, and it's beautiful. It makes you want to go visit New York in the fall. Next is Coraline. This came out in 2009 and it is a family horror film. This is actually based off of the Neil Gaiman book, Coraline, and he is the same author that wrote The Graveyard Book, which I recommended earlier. Coraline is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's about an 11-year-old girl that moves to a new place, a new house, and discovers a key and a hole in the wall, and it takes her to the exact world she lives in, except a better version of it. And I just think I can just imagine exploring an old house as a kid and wanting to find something, and then to actually find something would be so cool, but for it to have this crazy twist would be terrifying. I love this movie. I saw it in 3D. I was so lucky to see it in 3D, and it's a really good one. This movie is not directed by Tim Burton. A lot of people think it is. Very similar vibe, but it's a good one. And I'll just say, the other world, everyone has button eyes. Buttons? They have button eyes, okay? It's terrifying. I promise. If you haven't seen it, just watch it. The next movie is Paranorman. This is a stop motion. You're gonna notice that I have lots of stop motion movies because I really love stop motion movies and I just think they're so unique and cool, especially the seasonal ones. They're usually always seasonal. It's really weird. Anyways, Paranorman, it came out in 2012, and I originally did not see it because I thought it was a children's film. And when I watched it, within like 10 minutes, I was like, wait, this seems very adult. So I really enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. So this movie is about a misunderstood boy named Norman who can speak and see the dead. And one day he receives word from his uncle that the centuries-old witch's curse on the town is actually real, and he's the only one that can break the curse. I just want to note though that Paranorman is the biggest production to ever be made in stop motion. So yeah, that's another reason to watch it because it's pretty cool. The next one is Enola Holmes. It's an action adventure and it's based off the book by Nancy Springer. So the story is about the sister of Sherlock Holmes who travels to London to find her mother and ends up on a thrilling adventure, of course, to solve a mystery that could potentially threaten the entire country. Anything that takes place in Victorian London, I think it's perfect, and mystery definitely gives me autumn vibes, and I thought that this was a good autumn watch. The next movie is The House with the Clock in Its Walls. This is based on the 1973 novel by John Bellairs. It's about a 10-year-old boy named Louis that goes to live with his uncle in this huge house who suddenly starts hearing a ticking in the walls. He soon discovers that his uncle is actually a warlock and accidentally awakens the dead. There's lots and lots of magic in this one, so it is perfect to fill all your Halloween autumn needs. The next movie is The Haunted Mansion. This is a Disney film. It was made in 2003 and it's a fantasy comedy. It's about a workaholic real estate agent named Jim who decides to go on vacation with his family, and on the way he decides to stop at this old mansion because he's been told he needs to sell it. He ends up discovering that it's totally haunted and him and his family are stuck trying to escape. This is a classic. This is an older film and maybe it's not up to par on some of the like really spooky, scary stuff. And I personally love Disney scary. I love just the autumn vibes. I love the Halloween town aesthetic. And I'm not really a big fan of gore. So this is perfect scary for me. It's like fun, scary. And the last one that I want to recommend is When Harry Met Sally. This is a 1989 romance comedy, and the story follows the two characters, Harry and Sally, who keep coming in contact with each other over the course of 12 years and what happens with their relationship. I'd say that this is something I watch more in September to get myself in the fall mood. The next one is Sleepy Hollow. This was released in 1999 and it is a horror mystery. In 1799, a police detective is sent from New York City to a small town called Sleepy Hollow to investigate some murders. And yes, the Headless Horseman is in this one and it is creepy. Now it's time to move on to the autumn activities. I have so many of these, it's going to be hard to choose. So the first one is to wake up early in the morning before the sun comes up. When it's cold in your house, like throw on a warm autumn sweater and some fuzzy socks. Go to your kitchen and make yourself either a hot apple cider drink or a warm pumpkin spice latte. And then sit in front of a window that has a really nice view, your favorite window in the house, and watch the sunrise. And if you want to make it extra special, make sure you get yourself a little holiday candle that represents the scent of autumn and light it in the morning. Make some DIY Halloween fall decorations. It's kind of nice putting your time into the things that you put around your house because you look at it and you're like, oh, I made that, and you just really appreciate it. So I think this is a fun, cheap, easy way to add some decor and ambiance to your house without breaking the bank. All I did was I went out and I bought a book of craft paper and I cut out some bats and I taped them on my wall in different spots so it looked like they were flying, and it really just adds so much to your environment. It looks amazing. The other one that I did was I made some cut out pumpkins and I just added these in a straight line on my wall. I don't know. I thought it was really, really cute. It kind of reminded me of a wallpaper pattern. And then I also did one where I made some falling fall leaves, and this is very beautiful. Added lots of different colors to my space and it fits the aesthetic perfectly. It's so simple, and the thing is, if you want to throw them away, you can. But if you want to keep them, you can just put them in a book, keep them flat, takes up no space at all. Another DIY project that I did was I bought a wire wreath that was from Walmart. I think it was $2. And with all the stuff that I went out foraging, I actually put into the wreath and created something to hang on my wall. I also used some of the fake leaves that I went and purchased from the 99-cent store. So again, something that doesn't break the bank. And you know what? When autumn is over, I can change out this wreath to something that is Christmas related. So it's really cool that, you know, it's not just set in one season. Find a haunted house near you and go visit it. But don't trespass or anything like that. What I like to do is I like to find a haunted house with some crazy story behind it, and then I like to go to the place with like some friends and then tell them the story to really get immersed in the kind of haunted, scary Halloween feel. The next one is to go foraging. I did this for the first time this year. It was amazing. My leaves that I collected dried out so well. I closed them in between books, but there are also a lot of different crafts you can do with the things that you forage. So go collect some things and put it on display in your house. Look at this one. It has like the yellow. You can tell it's changing. It's so pretty. 10 out of 10 autumn nature walk. Like, get outside. Have a picnic in a graveyard. You have to be careful where you do this because I feel like some people might get upset at you. Maybe, but you know, do it respectfully. But I felt like this is a very cool thing to do, especially because you could look up the people that even live there. If you're eating near a tombstone and you could look the person up and enjoy the presence of people that once were and kind of look into their stories a little bit. Could be a very educational thing and kind of spooky at the same time. Go on an autumn stroll or an autumn hike. I already did this. I went on a hike that I normally do in summertime to a waterfall, and I ended up going on the same hike recently and my mind was blown. Like, the colors had completely changed. It was so gorgeous. I just couldn't believe how different everything looked. I've never seen so many different colors surrounding me before, and it was just absolutely gorgeous. So if you have any hikes around you or any like really pretty paths, go take a nice stroll down it. Make as many pumpkin recipes as you can. Hopefully you like pumpkin. If you don't, I don't know what to tell you, but I love pumpkin. And when October comes around, or September, I will just start making pumpkin everything. I'll make pumpkin soup, pumpkin pie, I'll make pumpkin muffins, pumpkin bread, like literally everything. Look up some recipes on Pinterest and see how many pumpkin recipes you can make in the month of October. It's a great way to learn some new recipes, and it will really get you in the autumn spirit when you're just cooking with pumpkin all the time. Watch the Harry Potter series and make a Harry Potter themed dinner and dress up. Don't skip out on that. Dress up. I did this one year and I had like a Harry Potter get together and all my friends dressed up in different houses, and I made shepherd's pie and I made homemade butterbeer, and it was so much fun. I had to put that one on the list because I had such a fun time doing it myself, so I wanted to share it with you. Make an autumn corner. I talked about this in one of my videos, but I have a specific corner in my house where I have this. You see it? You see it? Because I don't have the storage to keep a ton of stuff, so I just limit it down to one single corner. And whenever I'm in that corner, I'm fully embraced by autumn. Everywhere I look around, I have the autumn candles, I have the orange lights, I have my leaves, I have my lanterns, and it's really all you need. I only need one corner. The next thing is to go apple picking and make yourself a homemade pie from scratch. Baking is perfect for the autumn season, and it's just, I don't know, it just seems like so much fun, like going around in a cute autumn outfit and collecting fresh apples, different types of apples, and bringing them home to enjoy. Go to a corn maze. This is probably one of my favorite things to do. There's actually one in my area that's number 10 in the United States, so I'm super excited to go to that. But I know they do have these everywhere, and if it's not in your state specifically or city, maybe it's close to you, but being in a cornfield is so like spooky, and the smell of it, I love the smell of it. That is it. That was so much. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. I know I've gone through so many different things in this video, but there was so much that I wanted to say, and I'm really happy that I got to sit down and talk with you all. I really hope that some of these activities, books, movies, and TV shows get you in the fall mood and just get you excited for the season. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks so much for stopping by and watching this, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye, friends.